everyone, welcome back to our channel and to a brand new episode of Speaking Saturdays. Today we have a new set of questions, so let's get started. Part 1. Do you like cakes or any other desserts? I have a huge, massive sweet tooth. So, yeah, I don't just like cakes, I like anything that's sweet. Well, I should say I used to like anything that's sweet, but of course, I've had to control that. It's not very good for your health. But yeah, I still love cakes. In fact, I think that's probably my favorite thing in terms of, sweet dishes to eat. And I don't just love eating cakes. In fact, so I realized this quite early on that I loved, eating cake, but then I wasn't really happy with the texture, with the taste, with the varieties offered by local cake shops and packaged cakes. I don't know, they always tasted kind of dry or kind of chemically to me. So I was like, okay, let me learn how to make my own cakes and then I have full control over everything. I can make whatever I want. So I started doing that when I was 14 or 15 maybe. Do you know how to bake a cake? Oh, yeah, exactly. So I taught myself, and this was quite a while ago. I think I started when I was a teenager, 14, 15. I don't remember, maybe somewhere around that age. And I'd have, all these, I'd go on to YouTube, I'd search online for recipes, and I'd, do a lot of, trial and error. But I always loved and ate everything I made because my mom doesn't have a sweet tooth, so I would have to eat the whole thing, which was very lucky for me. But I still remember this one time when I tried to make something with a bit of jam, and it was a disaster, complete mess. It was like undercooked, but I still had to eat it, of course. And then this other time, I tried to bake a chocolate banana cake, but I hate it. Yuck! I hated the taste so much because I just don't like the combination of chocolate and bananas, and I don't know why I thought it was a good idea. Anyway. Why do some people not like eating sweet food? Oh, that's because they hate happiness. Well, no, jokes aside. I think, well, I mean, there can be many reasons. I think one reason, of course, could be health concerns. It's not good for your body, especially, I mean, there's diabetes concerns and all of that. So, it's good to eat less, eat food that doesn't have as much sugar. But I mean, there's also just in general, some people prefer, bitter tasting food. Some people prefer something that's more savory. Some people love spicy food. So there's all kinds of people on the planet. I mean, that could very well just be a lifestyle choice for health reasons, but it could very well just be that they don't like the taste. And I can understand because there are some things which are too sweet even for me, like cotton candy. Oh, I hate the taste. Anything that's too sweet just leaves a very bad aftertaste in your mouth. Are there any traditional desserts in your country? Yes, there's actually many. I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like we have a very, very rich history and very rich tradition of all kinds of sweets, especially milk-based sweets, right? Because India produces a lot of milk and, of course, milk-related products. So we have this one thing that's my favorite is this mixture of powdered ground cashew nut and what's the other thing? Clarified butter. So you mix that together along with sugar. Of course, you need sugar. And I tried to actually make it at home. It was easy and it was amazing. It tasted so much better than the stuff you buy outside. So that's my favorite. But then there's also other more popular ones. Like there's these round. So these are balls of flour that are fried in it's supposed to be fried in clarified butter, but that's kind of expensive, so most commercial varieties will just of course they'll use cheap oil, and then once you boil this ball, once you fry this ball of flour, you're supposed to dip that really hot ball of flour in this sugar solution. And then it's like super smooth and really sweet and soft. And I love it. I love that also. But of course, I mean, all of these sweets are very, they're probably like 50% or more sugar. So, of course, that's something that you reserve for special events and not something you should be consuming. I mean, I guess, what I really like is the fact that most of these are, dairy rich eh, like the one that I mentioned earlier, that one was, you actually can add a bit of, again, clarified butter is still a milk product. We have other cream based products as well. So we have a very rich culinary history. Okay, let's have a look at part two. Describe a film character played by your favorite actor. You should say who is this actor, when did you see the film, what the character was like in the film, and explain why you admire this actor. So to be honest though, I don't really have favorite actors. I mean, maybe when I was a child, but I don't really, I don't follow anyone. I'm not like obsessed. I don't idolize anyone. But of course you can recognize that acting is a difficult, job to do right, to do well. And I remember this time when it was probably last year. I don't remember exactly, sometime last year. I came across this film because I was studying French at the time, and there's a few cult classics. In general, French New Wave is a genre of cinema that I really like. I just love the stories, the acting, the whole ambience, etc. So, anyway, I came across this movie that was. It's basically a cult classic at this point. In English, it's called The 400 Blows. I mean, if you can watch it, you definitely should. It's not like a Hollywood entertainer, right? When I say Hollywood entertainer, you think, big stars and flashy scenes and very glamorous people and exciting stories full of drama, suspense, and all that. This isn't it. But it's a film that really makes you think, it makes you introspect. I think that's kind of why I like older cinema in general. But anyway, so um, I actually forgot his name because his name is so typically French. It's Jean something. I don't know. Jean something something. I know the director is François Truffaut, but I forgot his name, and that's a shame because a few days ago was his birthday. I saw on Facebook. I forgot his name. So anyway, he's Jean. Let's just call him Jean last name because I don't know his last name. I don't know. It might be Dupont or something like that. I don't remember. Anyway, that's not so important. He was actually a child, a teenager. Well, he was 12 or 13 when he was handpicked by the director to play this character of this boy, this teenage boy, who, he's growing up in he's growing up in Paris. Let's use the uh, whenever I say French terms, I have this urge to pronounce them in French. Because again, remember, I was studying French at this time. So, yeah, so the story goes it's this boy who's growing up with his parents. Well, actually, his stepfather and his mom. And they live in this really, really tiny, typical, 60s Paris apartment. And well, obviously, as any teenage boy, he has some issues and he's not very good at school. And, he likes to crack jokes all the time. So his teacher, punishes him and all that. And he's just a very typical rebellious boy. And yet, of course, his parents do not understand him. So I won't spoil it for you. It's a nice film. It really makes you think. And the whole thing is there's a reason why, they consider it a cult classic. Of course, I mean, I do feel like watching the movie in English, I mean, with English subtitles, kind of doesn't really give you the actual feel. Of course, I mean, the original language is the original language, but it's still worth watching. And it kind of it kind of opened, this entire, let's say, it opened up a door to French New Wave, because then I also watched other movies featuring the same actor. It was kind of like a progression of his life in a way, so it was really cool. Okay, let's go to part three. Do you think being an actor is a good job? Well, again, a good job. I mean, this is a very subjective question. For me personally, not so much because I don't like the idea of it. To me, it sounds like a lot of work, a lot of a lot of risk as well, because with every new character that you play, you kind of have to learn about the character. You kind of have to, mold yourself. I mean, we've all seen those pictures of, I forgot his name, but there's this guy who plays the machinist, I think, and he had to lose so much weight for the role. He became a skeleton basically. So I mean, and then again having to work out, and again having to lose weight, or do this to your hair, or learn to behave in certain ways. I think it actually does have an impact on your mental health too. So I would say it's an interesting job. But whether it's a good job, it really depends. I mean, if someone's interested, if someone's passionate about acting, who am I to say it's not a good job? Maybe it's not a good job for me, but it could be a great job for someone else. Because I can empathize that. Okay, it can be fun to play all these different characters and kind of have these separate personalities, but it's probably not something that I'm well suited to. What can children learn from acting? Well, if you, I think it could be a good exercise, to put children into theater or acting classes, even if it's just a very casual thing. They can learn about masking, about controlling emotions, about because as an actor you need to be sure of what your body is doing, what each finger is doing, what each muscle in your face is expressing, right? Because most of us don't really have that level of control over, like some people are very easy to read. If they're annoyed, you can see that on their face. If they're happy, you can see that on their face. But with an actor, well, if you are playing a role, you need to, because you don't have a mirror in front of you, right? You have the camera in front of you. So if children are taught about acting, it could be a good, because of course in the world that we live in, we do need to mask ourselves at times. And it could teach them a thing or two maybe about regulation, emotional regulation, controlling one's expression, and all those things. So it could be a fun activity. It could also teach them a couple good things about expressing themselves but also controlling themselves. Why do children love dressing up in costumes? I mean, who doesn't? Even adults like doing so. It's with children, I think it's also because they're just a lot more free. They are not really concerned with being judged. They don't care what you think. But an adult, of course, for some reason, adults are very self-conscious about things which children naturally lack. They'll do whatever they want. They don't care how it's perceived by other people. So it's fun again because they think, oh, if I, really young kids especially think, oh, if I put on a dragon costume, then I am the dragon. If I put on a Superman costume, I can fly. If I put on a Spider-Man costume, maybe I can, scale the wall. So to them, their imagination is much stronger. And also, of course, there's a bit of suspended reality because they don't realize that, oh, just because you put on a Superman costume doesn't necessarily mean you are Superman, doesn't mean you can fly. But to them, it's fun. Again, it enables their, flights of fancy. It helps them with their imagination. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing, too, of course. And it makes perfect sense that they would want to, because when you're a child, you're just exploring, life and exploring boundaries and things like that. So I can see why it's fun. What are the differences between acting in theater, in a theater? I mean, a theater could be the place, right, the stage, or just acting in theater versus film as, a genre, as a type of, because again, theater acting is different to film acting. So again, the questions were taken from the internet, so there might be, some differences, but yeah. So what are the differences between acting in theater and in film? So I think film acting, again, you have to. I have this view. I don't know if it's correct or incorrect, of course, but I just get the view that theater is more refined, and a film is more commercial, right? Because when you make a film, you've spent a bit of money in there, and you expect that people will come and watch this, right? Because you have to recover all the money that's, well, not you as an actor, because you do get paid, but of course you don't want the film to be a flop. So there's a commercial angle to films. They have to do well, you have to recoup costs, you have to make a profit. It has, and for that to happen, films have to be liked by people, right? Because you have to like the movie, you have to go pay for it, watch it, buy the DVD, and so on. So naturally, that does influence how the films are made, how people act, of course, as well. But theater is less so. First of all, I think in general, well, I don't know, it depends on where you live, but watching a theater production, it's again live, right? Every single time it's live. Not like acting where you have just, maybe a few takes, of course, but once it's recorded and done, that's it. You don't have to act out everything over and over. You can watch a film 100 times, but a theater play allows for more, let's say, originality, more expression of thought, expression, also a little bit of, impromptu work, a little bit of variance, right? Because the first show and the second show, of course, the story will mostly be the same, but it's possible that some expressions might be different. It's possible that I'm reminded of this one time. This is like slightly unrelated, but there was this opera showing, and so the tenor, he was sick and he couldn't play his part. So the woman was just playing her parts, and just very suddenly, nobody was expecting this, but a male audience member started singing the opera parts of the male cast member who was absent. And the woman, the singer, she was surprised, and you could see the surprise on her face. And so that was kind of a nice moment. But yeah, like I said, theater, the thing is, it's live, so it allows for more creativity, more expression compared to film, which is more commercial. So yeah, that was our test for today. Don't forget to tune back in. We have tons of other videos. And also, before you leave, don't forget to click on like, share the video with someone if you think it will be helpful. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.